Hi everybody, welcome to Season 5, Episode 11 of The Hard Truth Inside the Football Injury Podcast with me, Philip Ideson, and Darragh MacAnthony, the chairman and owner of Peterborough United. And, we tried to do this segment in the podcast about a bigger issue in the league, and we come full circle because this week's is actually related to your game. First of all, before we go there, how's your week been?
Yeah. Busy, just busy, moving a house, all that stuff going on. So yeah, a bit of stress, and then football stress. So it's it was Saturday was interesting to say the least. My missus is packing up the house around me, and I'm watching what I'm watching, and then we had the ghost goal. So yeah, it was all very entertaining.
Well, I'm wondering where to start. So, because I think let's just go to talk about your game, and then that'll put the ghost goal into context for the rest of the match, and then we'll kind of go there and dig deeper into goal line technology. So you had Newport, in the FA Cup, and you were 2 down after 8 minutes? Was it?
Yeah. But I love Manny to bits, but Manny basically, I think, stayed on the bus for the first 8 minutes, and God bless him. It was just one of them things. What was it like? First goal was controlling something on the edge of his box, and then obviously overran the ball, fouled their player. We then had a wall that was made of, it was the invisible wall where it wasn't a wall. Players we talk about, but I watched our under-18s play during the week, and they lost in the FA Youth Cup in a game they shouldn't have lost to a category lower than them, and I was steaming about that. Even though it's not about winning games in the academy, it's whatever. But those cup games, that Youth Cup's your chance to shine. And, we dominated the game against Northampton, but we conceded 2 goals. And again, I'm watching the teams, and Northampton's players are just blocking shots. And it's something we as a club, I don't know if it's just across our club. We're brilliant at attacking, but the art of defending, maybe we need to get back to the basics across all the groups. First team, right through, where you're putting your bodies on the line. Like, good defending isn't just having a 94% pass completion, running out with the ball looking like Paolo Maldini, or Ronnie Edwards or whatever else. And that's great and fine. And that's the way we play. And we need players like that. But the other side of it, we need to be better at. And it's not just the first team, it's the 21s, it's the 18s, it's the 16s, where you want to see skin, flesh, blood, sweat, somebody having a shot around your box, on the edge of the box. You want 2 of your players blocking the shot. And you see teams against us defend for their lives. And we have to learn the art of defending for our lives. Do we have players capable? Yes. Are we doing it enough? No. And that's something that if we clean that up, because obviously it's a bit comical where, the manager's obviously saying we have to outscore teams. You've got some of our fans saying, our defense is this. We have to take pride in that. We have to look at that criticism and go, you know what, we're better than this. And we are better than this, because when you look at us collectively as defenders, and the investment that's been made back there, we're miles better than this. And again, on Saturday, you got a free kick, you put a wall up, you put your bodies on the line. That wall, the ball shouldn't go through the wall. Well, the ball went between 2 players who jumped. That can't happen. Goal. Second goal, I don't know what boots Manny was wearing, but he tripped and fell over as the player. And it was, again, a mistake from our midfield. Pass to someone else. They go in. I think it was I can't remember our goalie making any saves for the rest of the game. It was just like kamikaze, Keystone Cop stuff for the first 8 minutes. And the biggest compliment I can pay this group of players, no matter how much criticism they're getting about City goals conceded, goals and spats, they never know when they're dead. And that is something that's really important to have as a team. The ability of 3-1 down against Rotherham, coming from behind, I think 4 or 5 games to win from behind. They never know when they're dead. For a young group, you'd expect, okay, well, they could go the other way. I think bar the Wycombe game, they've pretty much fought back in every game to have a chance of winning, drawing, whatever. They don't know when they're dead. So after 8 minutes, I'm thinking, fuck, we need that money from the FA Cup. You want to be in the second round. You want to get into the third round. You don't want to shit the bed against lower league opposition, because that's just going to bring more criticism on. So after 8 minutes, I'm sitting there just looking in the ceiling going, what the fuck is going on?
Meanwhile, Twitter was all about Fergie.
Well, I don't read social media. I wasn't really. I mean, that's preposterous. I don't know who hang your head in shame if that's the shit you're putting out there. I mean, that's just outrageous. You know what I mean? Like, fuck right off. So I didn't even read any of that. So I'm not even going to tolerate. I haven't got the time for that crap. That's just nonsense. So, so anyway, and again, showing why we've got the best manager, in our league and whatever else is that 2-0 down, away from home, FA Cup, banana skin. We absolutely fucking dominated the game. I mean, dominated the game. We settled in, dominated. We got a goal back. Kwame set up a nice goal. Ibby did really well. Our left winger we bought in the summer, scored a goal. Dominated. I think we had like 15 fucking corners in the first half. Then we scored an equaliser, direct from a corner. It was actually a shit corner. You know, Ryan Sparks usually delivers Jack Sparks delivers. My head scrambled. It's Monday morning. Jack Sparks, usually delivers brilliant corners.
Yep.
And, you know, it's just an awful fucking corner that's at the front post. And their player heads it into the net.
Yep.
So I'm like, I think I'm the only person celebrating because our players didn't really celebrate. Sparks didn't really celebrate. I don't know what was going on, the chain of events at the time. A couple of players did, and then they went over to Sparks, and it was like, great, 2-2. And then the referee, I'm watching him walk over to the linesman going, what the fuck is going on here? Then I'd seen what was kind of happening in the net, that the ball made its way out of the net. So I wasn't quite sure how that had happened. And then obviously I'm thinking, we've scored, and he's given a corner. I don't know what's going on. So obviously that's a kick in the nuts. We go out in the second half. We absolutely dominate them. Randall scores a great equaliser late in the game. You know, we probably weren't as ruthless in the final third as we could be. We were a little bit sloppy, but we didn't give up. Ricky came on. You know, he'd been rested for the game. The gaffer wasn't even going to put him in the squad. He was going to give him like a complete rest because he's trying to, overplaying players and injuries and stuff. Ricky does, what he's been doing recently. He's adding goals to his game now, which is just tremendous for, a player with his ability and talent. Scored 2 tremendous goals in front of our fans. It was great to see our fans like engaged with that. Because, fair play to those people who went all the way to Wales to watch that game. That's a tough away slog. So Ricky scores 2 goals. We win the game. And then I got sent the footage of the goal afterwards. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Like, what is going on? Like, we're talking about 19 years, the standard of refereeing. I've been around football saying, like, something needs to improve. And then a ghost goal. I mean, what's that happened twice in 25 years or whatever else? So I don't know whether or not I've tempted fate with what we said in the last podcast, but,
They heard that and thought, we'll show you.
Yeah. But for the linesman, not to be paying attention, for the referee who's 5 yards away not to see it. And then I see the Newport players that pull the net up. Now, I'm going to say something here and it's going to be controversial. It's one thing about diving for penalties or doing silly things or whatever else. That goes on in football. Listen to me when I say this, and I mean this because you know what I'm like. My word's my bond. If a team scores against my team and it's a clear goal, I'm not talking about something that's an inch over the line. And it's like, did it go over? Did it not go over? And you don't quite know because we don't have goal line technology. If a team hits the back of our net and scores, and our players pull that crap and basically try and cheat and say it wasn't a goal, I would walk down to my management team and say, let them score a goal. That's who I am. Even in an FA Cup, if it was the last minute of the game, I would walk down to Darragh and the staff and say, do the right thing and let them walk the ball into the net. I'm not having my players do that. I understand you want to get through in a cup and I get winning and everything else, but I'm not having that. And there are forms of gamesmanship, of winning penalties and bookings and trying to get players. That goes on in football. And did it go over the line? Did it not go over the line? But a goal that has gone into the back of your net and you pull that kind of nonsense, I'm not having that. So Newport fans can be angry with me. Their players can be angry at me. Go buy a mirror. That's all I'll say in that. That's outrageous what happened. And any team, he didn't even check the net for holes in the net. So how the fuck does the linesman and the ref think that ball's gone in the net? I just don't get it, Phil. You've seen it yourself. I don't get it.
I mean, for context, for people who didn't see it, the net was it was a freestanding frame. So it wasn't that the net was pegged into the ground or anything like that. It was there was a metal frame that the net was kind of attached around, and so the player was lifting up the post essentially, to try and show that it went underneath for some freak reason. It went underneath the frame and the side of the goal.
I think they kicked the ball back out of the net that way.
Right.
So the ball ended up behind. So
now,
sorry, my stupid dog.
It was. I think what sowed some doubt was your team not celebrating. So
I would probably say yes, that and whatever else. So of course I would say to my team, what on earth are you doing? You should be, because I'm celebrating. I'm over here in America watching and celebrating and thinking, why is Jack Sparks stood there like a zombie? Why is he not scored a goal and everyone running over to him? 3 or 4 of them did. The rest were probably, it all happened so fast, and I think it's because the Newport players pulled the net up and kicked it out the back of the goal. Whatever reason, It just can't happen. That chain of events can't happen. It can't happen from an officiating perspective. It can't happen from a player perspective and the opposition team pulling those kind of strokes. It just can't happen. And it takes no time at all to find out in real time, that's a goal. That's a goal.
And it wasn't, I know it's, hindsight is a wonderful thing and you see it on the video and you can see it in slow motion, but it wasn't marginal. It was just an obvious, corner came
into
in,
the back of the net.
Defender headed on goal, went in off the post.
Absolutely.
Went all the way back into the back of the net.
100%. So it's an own goal or whatever else. Maybe that's what Sparks wasn't celebrating because he didn't score it. But,
right.
It's a goal. It is simply a goal. And if I had been watching the game and I was in the other way and I wasn't sure, at half time I would have been told it was a goal. And I would have walked down and told my manager, go and let the opposition score.
Mm-hmm.
Go and let them walk the ball into the net. And straight away after halftime kickoff, we'd be like, go level it up. Go do the right thing, because no, I can't have that. You know what I mean? And that just can't happen. So again, we got Specsavers making a comment today on the Peterborough thing or whatever else.
Yeah.
I mean, comical, but like, I don't know what to say, Phil.
I mean,
people talk about VAR and goal line technology. I mean, if we can't hire officials to see quite plainly a fucking goal, and if the ref can't see it, what's the linesman fucking doing? What's he doing? Is he picking his nose over there? I mean, what's he doing? He's at the angle. He's at the angle. He's watching across the line. Isn't that his job?
Yeah.
It's like, my God. I mean, we're getting it. Like, I'm just so thankful we won, because otherwise, what I'd be saying would be a lot worse today.
Yeah.
Like, that cost us a place in the next round of the cup. And I'd be a different character today.
And I thought about that in terms of how I ask a question, because at the end of the day, it didn't matter, but that shouldn't matter, because
correct.
It could have mattered, and on another day it may have mattered, and jobs still lost or won because of decisions like that.
And that's where someone said, "Oh, the logical conclusion was the ref thought it went out for corner." Or there's no logic to it. And with all due respect, you're right, Phil. Not in my case, because my manager wouldn't be losing his job, but maybe another manager at another club him and his staff. Alex Ferguson won a game against, I forget, it was Forest years ago. Mark Robins scored a goal in the FA Cup, and they won 1-0. And they went on to win the FA Cup that year. And it was a late goal. And it was rumoured that Fergie was losing his job if he didn't win that game. Now, things change people's careers, trajectories, livelihoods.
Momentum,
everything. And, you just, it's one thing missing a foul. It's one thing making a mistake. We talk about mistakes, and people are human beings. I get it. My manager was quite polite about it all, saying I was a human being. No, sorry. Like, what? Let's say you're a doctor or a surgeon, and you can make mistakes during surgeries and complicated surgeries. But let's say it's one of the most simple surgeries you're ever going to do, and mistakes never happen. It's like 100% foolproof. It's kind of the case with goals that go into the back of the net. Those are mistakes that can never happen. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't even know if we're getting an apology.
I was about to say, have you at least had the obligatory call from the referee apologising?
I don't know. I haven't checked in with anyone from the club today. It's Monday morning our time. It's like 9 a.m. I haven't, just been speaking to the manager briefly about the Palace game, that we have on Tuesday. But no, I didn't get into the referee thing. We spoke about it on Saturday, and he was just like, we couldn't believe what we were watching. So again, it'll rumble on online and stuff. But like, we have to improve. The officiating has to improve. That has to stop. Like, simple mistakes like that not simple mistakes. Mistakes like that can never happen in football again.
Fundamental mistakes.
Exactly right.
Well, he's at Hillsborough on Tuesday, so that was his punishment. I think as a championship game.
He's got a championship game on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, yeah. I mean, that's preordained, I'm sure, because when they did the announcements, but I've not seen anything about him not doing that game.
Oh my God! Well, I mean, somebody needs to let me know if he does end up getting a championship game, because let me tell you right now, wow.
I was looking at his record this season, so it's mostly Championship League One. He has had one League Two game, which was ironically reffing us.
Really?
Yeah, and at least he's slated for League Two. Slated for the Championship on Tuesday. Now, should we be thinking more about at least goal line technology at all levels? I mean, I know VAR is a little bit of a different kettle of fish because of the cost of implementing and managing it, but goal line technology seemed to be the easier one to do.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be that expensive nowadays. I mean, with technology and everything else now, That should be a given. I think it should be across all the leagues. So, yeah, I guess in answer to your question, yes. We should have goal line technology, but are they going to argue that it still was a phantom goal because it went through the net into the goal?
Yeah.
So a goal line technology wouldn't solve the problem. It was VAR was the only thing that would solve it. So I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. Look, let's put that to bed. We won.
Yeah.
We get into the next round. Don't want to talk about the ghost goal anymore. Let's talk about the FA Cup. Let's talk
Yeah.
about all the lower league clubs that should have had replays this weekend.
Yeah. And so here we are, the reality of the decision to scrap replays now becomes real, because now we can assign specific clubs and examples to people who can very rightly feel like they've been screwed essentially out of a big
100%. 100%. Loads of clubs. Kettering, by the way, big congratulations to them. Barry's son works there at the club. What a performance from them in the FA Cup. We have a player on loan there. Love to see that. But yeah, I think there was 7, 8, 9 clubs that would have gone to a replay.
Think of Weston-super-Mare. That draw, they'd have got on TV, had the TV money from it.
100%. 100%.
Local to us, Guiseley.
Yeah.
Guiseley were drawing at Stevenage and got a 1-1 at Stevenage. That went to penalties. Guiseley lost. That would have had a replay. That may have even had a replay at a larger ground in West Yorkshire. They'd have got a lot of money from that. Taken away from them as well.
Yeah. I mean, ludicrous. What are we doing? What did we do? Why did that happen? And I think like the non-league or whatever else voted in favour, well, not voted, but approved it.
Well, they got their money for their little trophy, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, what on earth? So many clubs robbed of the glory of a replay and replay money. Makes no sense. ESPN will be crying in their cereal this morning because Wrexham were knocked out.
Well, there'll be no second round games live on.
That was a body blow for ESPN. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like, every single round is obviously they'd have them on and fill their coffers.
And have you seen them talking about, the shock defeat to Harrogate? Well, I don't think Wrexham have ever beaten Harrogate so far.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, but it's so bad. I mean, there's so many teams with bad. I don't know what's going on. Like, we used to, as owners, get like a live stream link to every game, like we do for all the cups. We get it for the League Cup, we get it for the trophy, we get it for our league games. They stopped it a year ago. I had to pay to get a cameraman to Newport to film the game. Otherwise, we couldn't watch the game. I don't know where we as the EFL have allowed this shit to happen. Yeah. I mean, that alone is for me, is outrageous.
As it's like the old days where you had a satellite on your driveway.
You're right. It's outrageous, that. I mean, I don't know if we change sponsors or who the sponsors are or what they're like or whatever else, but they cut our streams. We used to all get like a match stream because they already have the TV companies plugged in for the game, so they would just share the stream for the game. They don't even do that. I don't know why the EFL aren't fighting a corner on this. And I know it sounds petty and people out there be like, oh, you can't watch, but I own the fucking club. I haven't missed a game in 19 years. I had to on Wednesday mobilise. Of course, it's like 1,500 quid to get, it all set up, cameraman down there, get it filmed. You're watching a game without commentary. I'm just, at the end of the day, why aren't they sharing the stream? But there's only 72 owners. What's the big deal? Yeah. Like, what's the issue here?
Well, why can't they make it available for everybody? Like you said, EFL have done it for years and years and years. I couldn't watch our game.
No,
there's a camera there.
Yeah, but I don't quite get it. You know what I mean? So it's just bizarre. It's really bizarre. So I don't know. Anyway, look, the romance of the cup, the drama of the cup. Hopefully, we'll get through. We got a really tough tie with Notts County, really good team. So that'll be a really good game on the eye in the second round. Nice home tie, thankfully. So yeah, again, like that's not a given. You talk about lower league, whatever else. That should be a TV game, actually.
Well, it should be.
It's going to be a good game on the eye.
Not so a strong attacking team.
Absolutely, really good team. We played them in pre-season. Yeah, we played them pre-season. They play nice football like we do. That'll be a cracker. So again, the mighty Bantams won. They're into the next round. So we're online for our Wembley. Meeting, when it's the FA Cup, the FL trophy.
I was thinking, the law of probability was it should, the FA Cup second round was probably the law of greatest probability of us getting each other, and it wasn't to be. But
yeah,
we beat Aldershot 3-1. I have no idea how the game went because I couldn't see it. I listened to it. I saw
the America. Who owns the rights to the cup? Is it ESPN?
It's ESPN, yeah.
Right. So why not? They've got to select 3 or 4 games. So why not in America offer it on ESPN? Because I have ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
why not offer pay-per-view in America? for like people who want to watch it. Like, I don't understand. If you own the rights, ESPN, to all games, like, why not put it out there for foreign fans? And if you're worried about the VPNs in England, but you're still going to get paid. You know, anyway, sorry, back to you again.
No,
So all the shot of no mugs, so well done.
So no, Aldershot, like you say, no mugs. We went 1-0 down. With as I saw afterwards in the highlights, it was a really good goal from them. But came out for the second half really. I think focused. We got a goal back, and from there it was a little bit of a non-event. Got 3 second half goals. So I ended up 3-1, but I think Aldershot put up a really good showing for themselves, and if they had some chances, from what I understand, when they were 1-0 up and at 1-1 as well, that it could have been a different story.
Well, professional,
and we talk about this all the time. The standard in the National League is a high standard. It's not that much different from League Two, and in some cases, it's stronger than League Two. So we shouldn't be surprised when National League sides come and cause problems.
100%. Look, there's no easy game. Kettering showed that against Northampton.
Yep.
I mean, the level of football now and some of the talent in the lower leagues, it's just everything's a banana skin. And we ourselves got dumped out, a few years ago in our promotion season. I forget who did it, but we got tanked at home with a big shock and during the COVID years. So, I never take the FA Cup for granted. Trust me when I say that.
And so, you look at all the possible draws that you could have, and, while you're thankful to miss out on Exeter away, of course, we end up getting Morecambe in the next round away. So, Derek Adams again.
Oh, no.
Did they beat us, or was it a draw earlier in the season? All I know is that, they're one of our bogey teams. So, we could have done with a better draw. But I mean, beatable. Like, everyone's beatable.
Yeah, I mean, you still haven't got
struggling.
I mean, it's not Birmingham away where your cup
exactly
runs
right.
ended. I mean, it's like you kind of like shit. I remember when the draw for the first round was in. We were one of the last 4 teams, and Birmingham were one of the other teams. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go, Birmingham away in the FA Cup, and you're like, it's like shit. It's one of them things. But anyway, so all right, you got Morecambe, we got Notts County. At the end of the day, if you want to be in the third round, you got to go do the business. Any other standout results there we should talk about?
Let's have a look. And for us, I think it's the first time we've seen the second round in like 4 years. So on that alone, we'll take it. So let's have a look. Oh, Tamworth beating Huddersfield. I think that was Friday night.
What a result that was on Friday. Yeah, I saw it. I was watching the highlights.
If I go down here. Carlisle losing to Wigan. That's no surprise. Let's see, Chesterfield 3-1 Horsham. Dagenham. So, Dion Pereira, who was with us on loan for a long time, and of course Romney, both at Dagenham.
Yep.
Both of those two far too good for National League, I think. But people fall to places they fall for. For whatever reason, and they got a good 1-0 at Crewe.
No, fair play to them. Fair play. I mean, hopefully, I know Romany's been playing really well there, and we sent him there to get game time so he can go during January on a permanent. So, hopefully he gets himself a good move in January because he has been playing well there.
Yeah, and Dion Pereira, who was the one that scored, was with us and looked like a world beater 3 or 4 years ago. And, we pulled out all the stops to get him back, and it never really worked the second time round. And I think he went somewhere last year and it didn't work for him. So we're surprised to see him drop to National League, but apparently he's doing very well as well there this year. So hopefully he can get his career back on track, because he's one of those that has the talent for sure. Hensford 4, Gainsborough Trinity 4.
What a game.
Yeah, Gainsborough winning on penalties there. So that's what the FA Cup's all about. Who else down there? That Cheltenham getting a result at Rotherham.
Oh, unbelievable.
3-1. And Charlton made to fight at Southend. So
I watched the highlights of that game. Yeah, it was good. The Leighton Orient game was unbelievable as well. It went to penalties, but Orient won.
Who were they against?
Who was it? It was like they scored. Was it Bournemouth? It was like 3. One of our ex-players scored an equaliser late in the game. I might have got that wrong. You should have the results in front of you.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to find it here.
Yeah, Orient were away, I think.
Okay,
let's see. They won on penalties.
Find them. There's so many games to run through. All right, I'll have a look at that in a second.
Wimbledon
York,
beating MK Dons.
yes, of course. And York only just lost to Wycombe, which is,
Yep.
I'm really thrilled for how York are doing so far this season. So that was unlucky for them, and they took them pretty close.
Yeah, fair play. So magic of the cup. So there is still a few non-league clubs in there.
Yeah, looking at the draw for the next round. So what have we got here? Burton's struggling. They got Tamworth. Blackpool have got Birmingham, so that's all League One game.
That'll be on ESPN's the American owners, you know that.
At Stockport Brackley, that will probably be on as well.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Good game.
Kettering have got Doncaster now at home.
Okay, that'll be on. That has to be on.
And Reading versus Harbour Town.
Okay. There you go. Fair play to Harbour Town.
Yeah, so those are who you're fighting against for TV coverage in the next round.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be on TV as usual. So it's it is.
When do you usually find out?
I think on a Monday or Tuesday you find out like highlights, you find out, whatever else. So yeah, I mean it just depends. But I mean we won't be on TV. So was there 4 games, 5 games?
Yeah.
It's the replay thing just pisses me off. So again.
Meanwhile, Liverpool are walking the Premier League.
Well, that was great because I didn't see the Liverpool game. I'd saved it in the on the streamer for later, so I watched that, and obviously I was steaming watching us. We were absolutely rubbish in the first half, and fair play to Arnie. He said afterwards the same. He said we play like that again. We're not going to get away with it. So I like to hear that from a manager. Good results. Arsenal lost. The City lost. Chelsea, didn't beat United yesterday. Fair play. Because people keep saying, "Oh, they haven't played anyone yet." Oh, this. They go to Brighton in the League Cup, they win. They had Brighton at our and let me tell you right now, Brighton absolutely dominated Liverpool in that first half. And I mean dominated them. It was like the football was a pleasure to watch. They play some, I'll tell you right now, he's obviously some young manager, he is, because the football was just a joy. I'm watching it going, my God. I mean, Liverpool were awful. 𝗛𝗿𝗂 and McAllister looked way out of their depth against Brighton's midfield. I mean, I actually think those two probably haven't performed as well, even though Liverpool have won a lot of games this year.
Yeah.
It's been Gravenberch, it's been Curtis Jones. Them two in midfield haven't been on all cylinders. McAllister will find his feet. I'm still question mark for me on 𝗛𝗿𝗂 if he's worth the money that we paid. He hasn't kicked on to be that player I thought he'd be. But fair play to Liverpool. They're finding a way. It's a great habit, winning games that maybe you don't deserve to win. And we'll see how far it takes them, and we'll see if they can keep the injuries. They don't lose too many players, because that's where there's going to be a real problem for them. You can tell they're missing Jota. Fortunately, he can never stay fit for long periods of time. So City losing to Bournemouth, they've got their own injury problems. But then again, Bournemouth are no mugs. I mean, they're no mugs. They play they play a brand of football, and Nottingham Forest are third in the league, who beat Liverpool at Anfield. I mean, fair play to Forest, all the slagging they got off with the money they spent and the players they brought in. It's given them the platform to do what they're doing at the moment. And what did I say about Russell Martin of Southampton? I'm almost like a prophet, aren't I? I'm like a prophet. So well done to Russ.
All right, so what can we say about Wolves then that might get Wolves a win next week?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but he needs a win quickly, Gary O'Neill. That's for sure. As do Ipswich. I am surprised we're this deep into the season and Ipswich haven't won a game yet. Am I right in saying that?
You are. I mean, it's draws as well, that they've had 5 draws, 5 defeats so far.
Yeah, I really expected them with the investment they had in the summer and the talented player they brought in. I didn't think it would take them until November, to be still looking for a win in the Premier League. So, but I think their fans are with them. I think their ownership is with the management, so they should be fine. I think Palace are starting to pick up some form. They won in the league. They drew on Saturday. They had a good result in the League Cup during the week. There's interesting. City are out of the League Cup. Spurs had a good win against Villa. That was an unbelievable win when they were 1-0 down. So the League Cup is there for one of these teams now to potentially win. There's no City. And, obviously it's Liverpool's to lose as defending champions. So, but, down to the last 8, and there's teams like Newcastle, I think Spurs, who haven't won trophies for a long time. So you'd like to think their management would be like, we need to win a cup. We need to deliver some silverware. So we're going to lock in here. Southampton are into the last 8 of the cup. So interesting stuff. Who knows, And,
And we talked last week about, well, do Man United wait for a while and find the right man, or do they act quickly? And they certainly acted quickly. So
they seem to have got the new Jose Mourinho. They seem to have got a guy who is very well respected. He seems to, his mythology, his way of playing, his style. He's got something about him. It'll be interesting. Will he go in there like previous managers that have been expected to do things, and will he get sucked the vacuum of pressure and everything, and the players, the recruitment, or will he go in there and reset the whole thing? I don't know. It's a tough one to call. He's definitely a talented manager. He's definitely highly thought of. He obviously, wanted to wait till the end of the season, and they gave him it's now or never. So fair play to them for that. But I guess it comes down to recruitment. So we'll see, over the next couple of windows how he shapes the team. Is it going to be full of Portuguese players? Is it going to be, a little bit like Ten Hag when he went in there and he's buying players from Holland? It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Do you think that they need a clear out, or that the talent is in the building?
I think they've got some talent in the building. I think they definitely need a clear out. I think they've spent 50 million on a couple of strikers that couldn't hit a Ballon D'Or from foreign leagues, thinking that was their young and cheap way of doing it. And, this is Manchester United. I argued at the time they should have got Ivan Toney, and somebody of that ilk, in there. I get what they're trying to do throughout the squad, the team. I've no problem with going young, but you need maybe that one quality striker who score 20 goals in the Premier League, whether it be an Ivan Toney or an Ollie Watkins, somebody to spearhead to the team, because goals solve everything, as we've shown many times. If you have goals in your team, you always have a chance. So I really don't know. I mean, we'll see in time. I mean, they've had a lot of problems under Ten Hag, from injuries galore to players underperforming to being one of those teams that just haven't been there, in the Premier League. Yes, in the cups, but not in the Premier League. So it will be interesting. He'll get time. I don't think new ownership's going to get rid of this guy after a couple of windows, so he will get time. If I was a betting man, I would say in 18 months' time, Man United will be a different team.
Mm-hmm. Now, talking about goals, did I see that you were the 4th highest goal scorer in the calendar year?
Yeah.
It was like Man City, Liverpool, maybe Chelsea. I can't remember the other one.
We're one of the highest goal scorers in the calendar year for 2024. I think we're the highest in the league, outside the Premier League.
It was, yeah.
And then another thing as well, for all those people ridiculously calling for my manager's head or moaning, I think only Wycombe have won more EFL games than us in the whole of 2024. Yeah. I think we've won 25 league and cup games, and I think Wycombe have won 26, 27. So we're like a few wins away from being the EFL team who's won the most games in 2024, which is not bad for a young team.
But it only takes one defeat for everybody to be not even one defeat anymore. One bad 10 minutes.
Yeah. I said it before. I think everyone needs to calm the fuck down. The cavalry's on the way back. We're getting players back, and I've seen people questioning even like the recruitment in the summer of defenders, almost like we signed players the manager didn't want almost. Yeah. So let me go back to our recruitment in the summer. We spent 500 grand on the best left back in League One and League Two. He got injured and tore a cartilage, in pre-season. We then pivoted, even though we didn't have the budget, we made it happen and went out and recruited a left back that won the league with Portsmouth last year and played 40 times. Okay. We then went and got back 𝗛𝗏, who should not be in League One, to come in to the team, who I'm sure all our fans have been like, great signing. Can play right back, centre back, in midfield. Cost a lot of money. He got injured. We then went out and spent, the manager wanted me to get him, a Swedish centre back that we all think has a lot of upside. And then we went out and signed, we felt, a player who will replace Ronnie Edwards in time. Not straight away, but with a lot of upside and potential. Anyone who's watching Everton, his appearances, he's a player. He is a fucking unbelievable player. A lot to learn. He's 18, but what a prospect. Thrown in then, we have Manny Fernandez, who's 22, whose time has come to play. Otherwise, what do? Stick him in the stands? Yeah. This is a player with a lot of upside. Does he make mistakes? Yes, he does. But I'll tell you right now, the same people moaning about our back, and then we had a right back in Donnelly, who's probably the best fullback prospect since Harrison, to come through our academy. Again, the only way we're going to improve as a club with these young players is playing them, players of that ilk. And my management team and their analysts wanted the boy at Sheffield United. So we felt, collectively, we had some very, very strong defensive talent there. And as a collective, they've not been good at times. But then again, they've chopped and changed too many times. and we haven't had a solid back four. I don't think we've named the same back four more than 3 times the whole season in 16, 17 odd games if you include cups. So people are coming back to fitness. It was always going to take a while. I think we'll be very good. I think we've got one of the best young goalkeepers in the league. Just needs confidence. And I think, as we settle down, as we start getting results and we start winning in troughs of 2, 3, 4 games, clean sheets will follow. And the defense won't be as bad as you think it is. So everyone needs to just take their finger off the overreaction button. And they'll probably be the same people who will moan like fuck at me in 2 years' time when I sell Manny for a fortune and I sell the Swedish fella for a fortune or Donnelly for a fortune. How did you sell those players? How did you let them go? And da-da-da-da-da. And when I sell Neville for, that's just the way it goes. I get it. Look, we've got one of the worst defenses in the league at the moment. You're open for criticism. You want to talk about Ronnie and Harrison and Josh Knight and not replacing them. You're never going to replace players that ilk straight away. Just like when Harrison came in the team, Josh came in and out of the team, and Ronnie, when he first broke into the team, were in and out of the team. That just happens. So we feel we did our best. We feel we gave the manager everything he wanted in the summer. And, if we have to improve in that area, we'll find a way to do it, in January. That's what we do. But turning on ourselves and going down that route, it's not going to help anybody. It's not going to solve any problems, So my advice is look, dig in. It might be a little bit with a health warning the way we play and some of the results and some of the goal scoring, but it might be like that just for a while. But we've got some bloody good defenders in the building, and I'm not ready to write them off. I'm not ready to discard them and go out and replace all of them. I think we've got some bloody good talent back there. They just need to, like I said to you, learn, put bodies on the line, defend like their lives fucking, like they did against Bolton. Bolton was a classic example where they probably defended the best they've defended all year. Did they get what they deserve? No. Sometimes that happens in football. But if they play like that 9 out of 10 times, they're going to have 6, 7 clean sheets. So that's kind of the spirit and mentality they have to have. So, so that's my little piece on that.
All right. Well, a couple of things just around the leagues. Wrexham this week sold a minority stake to the Allen family, which are New York based.
Okay.
So a medical device company.
Okay.
Interesting to see if that is Ryan.
How much did they sell?
I don't know from a percentage. Let's see if I can kind of Google that while we're talking about it. It just says the minority stakeholder, and I don't see a. Do I see a percentage here? No, there's no percentages given in the official press release anyway.
Okay. Big hitters, I presume. Deep pockets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So is that the next kind of phase of the journey is bringing the real money, so to speak? I mean, not that Ryan Reynolds doesn't have real money, but when you're owners of a world-renowned medical device company that has a huge market cap, then it's kind of a different world of investment, I think.
Oh, fair play to them. At the end of the day, look, they probably realize the championship's a different level to League One when they finally get there. And we always said this. I always said they'd get to the champ's the test, because you got some big hitters, you got some wealthy clubs there. Your 7s and 8 grand a week ain't going to get you out of the champ. Yes, Luton pulled off a miracle to do it, but it doesn't always happen. So maybe they're just gearing up for that, preparing for that. They have to build a new stand. They've got a lot of things they've got to spend money on. Yeah, listen, sensible move, and the more good people you can put around you with money, the better. I mean, I've always been open to that. I've done it myself recently. I think you need good people, and more so than the money, good talented people that can help with planning and stuff. And I've done a little bit of that over the last few months myself, and I think it's only a good thing. And not all partners are perfect. I've had my own issues and whatever else, but I still stand by everything I've done was for the right thing for the football club, and the 2 guys I'd previously brought in were great guys. You know what I mean? And it didn't work out in the end. Do you know what I mean? But we had some good times. Sometimes not all partnerships last forever, and you move on. And I think what Wrexham are doing, it's sensible business. Lots more clubs will do it. We've seen Leeds bring in a lot of multiple big hitters, investors. The Birmingham guy, he obviously, Tom Brady, he's probably brought in other minor investors because he runs a fund or whatever else. Look, it's a tough industry. Once you get above League One, even League One level now, You know,
Yeah.
but once you get above League One level, it's a bloody tough league to stay in. It's Jesus Christ. It's the Championship is like Premier League 2. So, you know, if Ryan Reynolds and his partner Rob have done that, that's prudent.
And a manager sacking Paul Hurst was sacked by Shrewsbury.
Seen that.
Which, you know, they've had a tough run. But I thought Paul Hurst was always a great fit for Shrewsbury. So obviously that will be interesting to see what direction that they take from there.
Yeah, they haven't had the best start, have they? And obviously it's been
No.
rocky up and down, so no surprise. We'll see who goes in there. You know, everyone will be scavenging out there for a job.
And then somebody who did get a job last week, we didn't mention it last week, was Ian Holloway, back at Swindon.
Ollie's back, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good for the EFL. No, I like Ollie. So I think, you know, characters like that, it's great. You know, you see Steve Bruce and you see Ollie and you see people like that, you know, they're people you have a lot of respect for. They're kind of legends of the game, you know, because obviously football's gone a different way. People are hiring a lot of under 21 coaches from Premier League clubs, foreign managers, you know, the new young, sexy thing. And then you see some of the stalwarts, the legends of the game like that, getting jobs still. I like it. I have no problem with that. So I hope Ollie does really well at Swindon. It's a good club.
Yeah, I seem to remember there was a documentary, or maybe it was something on the radio that I heard with him talking about, you know, how much of his, you know, identity and, you know, essentially kind of his life was built around being in football and being a football manager.
Yeah,
and
he's that kind of character.
You know, it must be difficult to be away from the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and he's a good manager, and I know he's, you know, it was a Grimsby and a couple of other places he dropped to, and he's taken jobs a lot of people wouldn't have taken. And I respect that. I respect Steve Bruce dropping into League One. I respect Ollie when he drops, you know, whether it's non-league. I have a lot of respect for people like that. You know, they're not going to places like Wrexham where they're getting paid 15 grand a week to drop into non-league or whatever else, and then have the embarrassment of riches to get back up. You know, you have to respect any manager who loves his craft and wants to work. I mean, any minute now, Warnock's going to pop up and be back in business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There you go, Shrewsbury.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, get old naughty Neil back in. So it's like, you know, no shock at all. What else been happening in the world of football? Bar Ghostgate and whatever else.
Yeah, well, we had Real Madrid refusing to turn up at the Ballon d'Or en masse because Vinny wasn't winning. I mean, does anyone care about Ballon d'Or anyway? I don't know.
Now that Messi and Ronaldo ain't kind of juggling it between each other, you know, fair play that Rodri won or whatever else. And I would agree with that. Rodri's been the best footballer in the world over the last 18 months, you know, and such is the importance of Man City not having him, you know, for a prolonged period of time. I have no problem with that. You know, yes, Vinicius is exciting to watch at times, but he can also be a bit fur coat, no knickers as well. And it's not like he scored 50 goals and 50 assists like Ronaldo or Messi. Not showing up. I mean, I'm a Real Madrid fan. I'm Real over Barca.
Yeah.
But like, I see shit like that and I'm just like, that turns me off. Classless, silly. What are they doing? So I don't quite understand. You know what I mean? You're not so big that you can, you know, demand one of your players wins Ballon d'Or. Like, grow up. You know, at the end of the day, he didn't get it, you know? So maybe this year, go out and score 30, 40 goals and have 20 assists.
You know, don't be 6 points below Barca or whatever it is that they
are. You know, at the end of the day, but I have no problem with Rodri winning that. I think it was a good choice.
A couple of questions to finish on this week. So we have somebody who has the username of Twister on Twitter who's a Coventry fan. He said, I'd like to know how we get the best out of Ephron Mason-Clarke.
Play him in the right position.
League One last year, but I don't think we've seen anyone near the best of him yet.
So from what I'm told, and if my information is incorrect, please accept my apology in advance. I'm told, I believe he's only played in his right foot position on the left-hand side of a three once or twice, and they've been playing him as a right winger. When we had Ephron at Peterborough, the worst I saw Ephron play was in 2 games where the manager played him right wing, and I lost my shit because he was absolutely ineffective. Ephron, if you watched him, and I'm sure they did many times before buying him, his strength is on the left. It's on the left. And, you know, great win for Coventry, by the way, on the weekend. I mean, they're starting to purr. So I'd imagine they're going to do the usual and start rising up the table. And who am I to tell Coventry what to do, how to pick a player? You know, that's their own business. So I don't want headlines, any Coventry journalists listening here, trying to create any spats between me and Coventry. It's not about me criticising Coventry. I've been asked about my player, who they bought, why we're not getting the best out of him. And I'll tell a story. And it's actually a bit Ian Holloway related. We had Dwight Gale, who was one of the best number 9s we've ever had. One of the best strikers running off people, play down the middle. We sold him to Palace for 6 million. And me and Barry were in Ireland celebrating when the deal went through. And we're sat there outside the training camp in Ireland, and we get a phone call, and it's Ollie on the phone. And Barry put it on speaker. And Ollie's first question to Baz was, Baz, can he play left and wide of a 3? And we looked at each other and was just like, and again, and I'm not saying players can't play in certain positions, but if you're buying a player, if you're looking at a player, Dwight Gale, and you're watching him, he's a 9, and this is his strength, and he's down the middle, and this is how you're going to, and you're suddenly looking to take all those strengths away, play him in a position he's not used to. Whether you want to teach him that position, fine, but that's the pivot you're going to start from. It's not going to work. And if Coventry are trying to pigeonhole in Ephron to play in positions that are not to his strengths, he's going to take a while or a minute. Can he become a wide right player? Can he play down the middle? Potentially. What are his best attributes and talents? His best talent was playing left side, basically taking on defenders, crosses, assists, goals, back post. He's strong, he's physical, he should be made for the Championship.
Yeah.
My advice to Coventry during the summer was buy Harrison Burrows. I don't know who Coventry's left back was. I was like, buy Harrison Burrows, because him and Ephron Mason-Clarke were the best left side in the Football League last year. The best, by a mile. They almost like knew each other's, they just knew each other's strengths and weaknesses. And Ephron's other strength is protecting his defender. All good fullbacks, attacking fullbacks, need a great winger in front of them. 𝗛𝗿𝗄𝗧𝗏 is the best in our league because he helps out behind. It's not just what he does going forward. James Donnelly's never going to play behind a winger like 𝗛𝗏𝗄𝗧 in his career. I said it on Saturday. He's so privileged and lucky to have a winger that works hard for a fullback.
Yeah.
Ephron Mason-Clarke is 2 styles. He will defend, he's physical, he will help us fullback, and then he will run at 90 miles an hour versus fullbacks and attack them and go on the outside, cross, make goals, and go on the inside to score goals. Those are his strengths. I spoke to his agent 2 weeks ago, and he said, look, he took a while to bed in a Posh. He'll take a while to bed in a Coventry. And they have a player. But I've seen some of the Coventry fans come at me about wasting money or whatever else. I'm telling you right now, you have a fucking real player there. You might not have seen it yet, but you will see it. He is a player. Just like I told the Sheffield United owner in the summer, when he's a little bit unhappy about the valuation on Harrison, that it would be money well spent. And I'm sure right now he's licking his lips thinking, this young left back is probably worth 4 times what they paid Peterborough, who's been tremendous for Sheffield United.
So, without making this about Ephron, this is more of a generic question.
Sure.
You know, these are obviously very, very talented footballers that we're talking about. What makes it difficult to kind of to pivot from one position to another position? You know, even if it's a kind of across the line, what is it that's so specific about one specific position where you're so strong there, and it might be harder to go?
So the modern day attacking footballer, in fairness, can play anywhere across the front 3. They can play left, they can play right, they can play down the middle. Modern ones, you know, you look at it. But then again, you go to the Premier League and go, can Mo Salah play on the left for Liverpool?
Mm-hmm.
Look at Mo Salah. 99.9% of his career has been played on the right for Liverpool, coming in on his left foot. When have you ever seen Mo Salah play in the opposite wing? He's a world-class player. One of the best the Premier League's ever produced. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So why is he not playing on the left sometimes? Yeah. Okay. So now you're asking Ephron, I'm not comparing Ephron Mason-Clarke to Mo Salah. He's played most of his career in the left of an attacking 3, or if it's 4-2-3-1, or if it's 4-4-2, or if it's 4-3-3, he'll always be that left winger coming in off the line. Okay. All his career. So why now are you paying all that money and you want to play him over there? Mm-hmm. Like, based on what did you see that you thought that could happen? Yeah. Because I studied him and watched him, as you know, for a long time. You know, his best position was there. Even some of my managers wanted to play him as a 9. And I was like, he's not a 9. Can't play with it back to goal. He has to come from there. You know, you can see it. Just some players, Vinicius, where does he play? You know, some players, you know, that's who they are. They don't want to play in certain positions. And some players can do it. You know, Jude Bellingham has played as a 6. He's played as an 8. He's played as a 10. He's played him as a false 9. Some players have the talent, not the talent, the mentality where they'll do it, they'll adapt, they'll change, you know, they become like that. I just think some other players just don't have the ability to do it. They are what they are. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I've just told you, Mo Salah's played 500 Premier League games playing on the right. Yeah. And he's done pretty okay out there. So, you know, that would be my riposte to why can't he play somewhere else?
All right, let's go into one last question.
Sure.
We have a question from Kevin, who's a Sunderland fan. He says, with Darragh being Irish, did he see that Sunderland picked up Aaron Connolly on a free transfer?
I did.
He said, also, did you see the interview he did with the club around the problems with alcohol, etc.? Do we need to support footballers more with off-field problems?
As much as we can. I think the PFA have to play a bigger role. I think, and I said this when Tony was banned for betting, and you see all these things going on. Sometimes we're a bit too overcritical and dive in. And, everyone has their own demons going on off the pitch, whether it's mental health, whether it's alcohol, whether it's a drug addiction, whether it's a betting addiction. And we've had it from some of the Irish lads coming over. We've had gambling addiction. We've had drinking addiction. It's not a little bit put me off because we've had it one too many times from some of the Irish players coming over. I don't know. I think it's more to do with homesickness. I think it's more to do with being on your own. I think it's more to do with not having. So, Joe Randall was an example where he traveled from Exeter. He found it really difficult. We did our best to help him off the pitch. It worked. He did a lot of it himself. We did our bit. We're a lot more now as a club in tune with that stuff, particularly with youngsters, right down to when I'm buying players, I'm always saying to the manager, Liz, the staff behind the scenes, who are we moving them in with, who are they living with? George Nevitt this summer, 18, his parent, who are we going to put, but he wants to live on his own. Do we want him living on his own? I know he can afford to. I know he's paid really well. I know you want to live in your, say you want to live in a penthouse, or you want to live the life Fandango. I have an 18-year-old lad who's gone to college. He's living on his own. I almost want him with someone. I want him to have company. I don't want him in four walls with silence all day long, because what's he going to do then? Gambling, porn, whatever.
Yep.
You're left to your own devices. You're not communicating with people. So I think modern day now, we have a bigger role to play, and trying to, I encourage all our players. Like, I know young Donna has ended up renting an apartment next to our stadium, and he's got Brad from Colchester as his flatmate, God love him. So the two of them now are one's 20, one's 21. They're living together, but they have each other, and I just think that's really important. Some of the players might have girlfriends. Okay, so they live with their girlfriend and they got a kid, whatever. When you got a young group like ours, I encourage them to live, even though they've got money, it doesn't matter. I think just having somebody to moan at and bitch at, and, the good times, the bad times, and just, if you just got four empty walls and you've lost the game and you're getting trolled on social media and your family aren't around you and FaceTime's not going to do, you've got a lot of empty time on your own and your head filled with a lot of negative shit. So I do think we have to be a little bit better on stuff like that. So I always just encourage players when they're young and they come, let's pair you up. Let's, you get your first pay rise and you're moving out of your digs or whatever else. Let's pair you up with players. Some players won't like it, but let's just do it for a year. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important. So, and yeah, do we need to do more? Of course we need to do more. We do as much as we can, but we can always do more. That would be my answer.
Can that be part of your competitive advantage, as you're bringing in young kids, is that because you're doing it so often and you're used to kind of bringing in younger players who are in that circumstance, that you've kind of got the model of how to do that and how to integrate them?
We're definitely doing it better. I think, Joel living with Archie for so long has helped him. I think we are doing it better. And, like I said, there's a lot of care and attention every summer. It was one of the minute we'd done the deals and medicals were passed, I think they were signed. I'm having conversations straight away. I was in Dubai at the time about Nevin and about younger players, and can we pair him up with Denelli? Can we do this with that player? Can we put them together? Oscar coming from Sweden, he's going to be on his own. But okay, well, his dad was kind of visiting, so okay, he wants to be on his own. But again, you're worried about that side, because if that side's not right, the football side is going to be shit. So you're always wanting to know, how's everyone? What's going on, lads? And I was at the training ground last week or 10 days ago, and they were all playing pool in the lunchroom. So I'm getting amongst them. What are you up to? And who are you shagging? And what are you doing? And da-da-da-da-da. And, I like to slag Ricky off as a serial shagger and things like that. And I give him a bit of ribbing, and, and then I was like, about Brad and Donna moving in together. And, look at you two lads, what I mean? Your penthouse now next to the ground. You want to make sure nobody's sitting in a corner on their own. We're all parents. I don't want my kid on his own. My son's at college at Auburn, and he's done art. So he's a good-looking lad. He's a cool lad. He's not your stereotypical artist. A lot of the artists in his class, they're not probably outgoing and party goers and frat people. So and his friends here were kind of a mixture of frat, sports, jocks. Yeah. And he was, he had quite a good social life. He's gone there because his classes are like different types of people to him. I'm kind of encouraging him, take a minor, do a business class, do another class where you're going to meet maybe people that are more like you outside of art. Yeah. So, so he's migrated to birds, of course. where you know, he hasn't made any
Now you
friends,
got
but
now you got a whole different worry going on.
yeah. So now he's like, you know, he's a couple of Richards. He's been, you know, dating and, you know, out and about and having fun. And, you know, I noticed on his Live 360, I was tracking him that he was like staying in the girls' dorms, you know, for like 2 nights. He kind of got missing while I was away, so I was tracking him down, you know. So, but I'd made a bet with his sisters and his mom. The first friends he'd end up making would be a few birds, and you know, so be it. That's the way it's gone. But that's fine. But I want him to have some dude friends and, you know, and whatever else, you know. But you worry because he's 18, he's on his own, he's living on his own, you know. And you know, again, four walls. Like there was one weekend he never left his apartment from Friday to Monday, and I rang him and I said, "Go for a fucking walk." You know, go to the movies on your own, you know, get out. You know what I mean? There was a football game on. Go to the game. You know, get out and get some fresh air. Don't just sit in your fucking apartment for like 72 hours. Like that's not healthy. You know, when we were growing up, when I was 19, 20, I didn't have the internet, I didn't have the phone, I didn't have anything. I had to be out there. I know what I was out there doing, but I was like, I was out there, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, so yeah, look, it's just different generations. You didn't worry about your kids. You worry about what they're like.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said our kids are a little bit softer than us nowadays. We've made them that way. You know, so setbacks, they don't take them as well as we took them. You know, I ate setbacks up, use it as fuel.
Yeah,
a lot of youngsters don't. They take setbacks not as fuel. They take it as almost like it's terminal. You know, and that's just like, that's a whole different conversation. So I don't want to rabbit on, but you know, there'll be
spend an hour about how do you motivate kids when
absolutely
they seemingly have everything that they ever need.
Right.
And it's very different from you know, as you're growing up.
Absolutely. Different likes, different thoughts, different, you know, they're just different, you know, kids, they're softer. So, you know, and that's our fault as parents. You know, we've made them a little bit that way. That's society's fault. That's social media's fault. That's all of those things. So footballers are the same. So I always have to compare it to my son. He turns 19 in 3 weeks, and I've got half my football team are his age. So it's like, you know, and when I see our fans and the criticism and the this and the that, whatever, I'm like, you know, it's my 19-year-old son. You know, they're not like men from 20 years ago. A 19-year-old 20 years ago, Wayne Rooney playing for Man United was like a 30-year-old fucking man.
Yeah.
A 19-year-old footballer nowadays is not like Wayne Rooney 20 years ago, right? That's the best comparison I can make. So we have to be just a little bit different on how we handle them and support them and criticize them. And it's just different. So that's what I'd say on that.
All right. Well, let's wrap up for another week. Keep the questions coming. contact@hardtruthfootball.com.
Thank you for listening.
Follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere where you get your social media snippets. You can DM us with any questions and we'll bring them onto the show. Until next time, Darragh, thank you.
Thanks, Philip. Have a great day.
Talk again soon.
Bye.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Bye.